So from today, we'll be discussing queues, the different types of queues and their implementations. Okay. So the objective of today's session is to understand the ADT of queue and its implementation using arrays. Fine. So we'll be seeing the ADT of queue, that means the algorithms for various queue operations like insertion and deletion. We'll also see the program for implementing a linear queue using array. We'll see what are the different types of queues, their applications and disadvantages. So this is what we are going to see today. So we'll begin with the definition of a queue. So what is a queue? Is it a linear data structure or non-linear data structure?
Ma'am, linear.
Linear,
Primitive or non-primitive?
Non-primitive.
non-primitive.
Okay, so Q is a non-primitive linear data structure, right? And what is the principle of operation of a queue? What is the principle behind the operation of a queue?
First in, first out.
First in, first
First
out.
in, first out, or in other words, FIFO, right? So you can define Q as a non-primitive linear data structure which works based on the principle of first in, first out, right? That means there are two ends which are called as the rear end and the front end. Insertion happens through the rear end and deletion occurs through the front end. Now let's try to understand what is this rear end and what is this front end, right? So when you visualize a queue, okay, whether you're standing in a railway ticket counter or a movie ticket counter, you know that there is one end through which people enter the queue and there is another end through which people get out of the queue, right? So the end through which people enter the queue is called as the rear end and the end through which people move out of the queue is called as the front end, okay? So in other words, rear end is the end through which insertion happens and front end is the end through which deletion happens. So adding this insertion operation is otherwise called as enqueue in a queue. So in a stack, we refer it to as push, whereas in a queue, we refer to the insertion operation as enqueue. Okay. And this enqueue happens through the rear end. Similarly, the deletion operation, that means a person moving out of the queue, is referred to as dequeue in a queue. In stack, you know that it is called as pop. So pop operation is called as dequeue in the case of a queue and dequeue operation happens through the front end. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you had a very long break, so 5 days, so you must be refreshed by now. So the end through which insertion happens, that means this end is called as the rear end and the end through which deletion happens is called as the front end. So the deletion operation is called as dequeue and the insertion operation is called as enqueue in a queue. So it's simple, it's quite simple, and this principle of operation is what is called as first in, first out, right? Now let's try to understand this with an example of an array. See, suppose this is an array. So you can see how many elements in this array? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 elements in the array. So what is the position of front and rear? See, front is the end through which deletion happens and rear is the end through which insertion happens. So you can see here in this example, front is at 0 and rear is at 4. What does that mean? Initially your queue was empty, right? Initially your queue was like this. Your queue was empty. So what is the condition for queue empty? What is the condition for queue empty? Can you make a guess? You know the condition for stack empty. Stack empty is indicated by top is equal to -1, right? So what would be the condition for queue empty?
Front equals to 0.
Front equal to top equal to 0 means what? Does top equal to 0 means stack empty?
No.
No, it means
No,
there is
no.
one element in the stack, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So-
So -1. Front equals to -1.
Okay, so only front equal to -1? We have
Front and rear both equals to -1.
front and rear both equal to -1. So in Q, we have two pointer variables, right? We have front and rear. So the condition for Q empty is both front and rear should be equal to -1.
मैम अगर रेयर -1 रहा तो फ्रंट -1 ही होगा ना इसमें?
हाँ, right.
हेलो, हाँ तो फिर
But you have, since you are using the variables, you have to be clear, right?
okay.
So for stack, it is top equal to -1. For Q, you have your initial condition for Q empty is front equal to -1 and rear equal to -1. Now suppose I want to insert one element 12 into the Q. So if I want to insert 12 into the Q, what would I be doing? What should I do? I have to set front as 0 and rear as 0, and then I'll be inserting this element into this position that is pointed by front and rear. Okay, for the time being, I'm using F and R. F is for front and R is for rear. Okay, so right now what I've done is I've set front as 0 and rear as 0, and then in Q of rear, I have put that element 12. Okay, so what have I done? I have inserted the very first element into the Q by setting front and rear as both 0. That means both front and rear will point here, and then into the position indexed by R, rear, Q of rear.
Ma'am, will you please check the waiting room?
Yes.
नोट्यूबच्या फॉर्म साठी जर आले पेरेंट आणि काही केले का
Okay, now, so what does this mean? This means that the element which has been inserted is 12, and it also means that the element which will get deleted first is going to be 12, right? Whoever comes first into the queue gets deleted first, right? So you have inserted 12 into the queue. So it means that Q is the 12 is the first element which you have inserted into the queue. So rear is pointing over there, and it also means that the element which will get deleted first is going to be 12. So whoever came into the queue first will get deleted first. That is what is meant by first in, first out, right? Now you tell me, if I want to insert one element into another element, say I want to insert 9 into the queue, which pointer will I increment or decrement? I want to insert 12 is already there, okay? 12 is already there at Q of 0. I want to insert an
increment.
Increment
Rear
rare.
will get it,
Rare.
yes.
will increment rare. Will
Rare.
increment only rare, right? So what we'll do, we'll just do rare plus plus. That means so that rare points to this location, and then in Q of rare, we'll put that element 9. So suppose I've incremented rare and I've inserted. So rare is now no longer pointing here. Okay, rare is now pointing here, and I put 9 inside that location indexed by Q of R. So in Q of rare, I put 9. So now what is the meaning of this? This means 9 is the element which has been added latest into the queue, right? And suppose an element is going to go from the queue, that element would be 12 because front is pointing to 12, right? So front always points to the element which will get deleted from your queue, and rear will be pointing to the element which has been added, the most recent element which has been added, right? Now if I want to add one more element 8, what I'll be doing? I'll be again incrementing which pointer? Incrementing which pointer?
Rare, ma'am.
Rare. So what is the current value of rare? Rare was initially 0, rare is 1. When you reach here, rare value is now what? 2. If I want to insert, so remember front remains here itself because you have not done a deletion operation or a DQ operation till now. Now suppose I want to add one more element. Say I want to add 2. What I'll be doing? I'll be again incrementing rare so that rare points to 3. See, this is your Q of 0. This is Q of 1. This is Q of 2. This is Q of 3. And this is Q of 4, right? So once you have incremented rare and rare points here, you can put that element into that location indexed by Q of R. Next, if I want to add one more element 6, what I'll be doing? I'll be again incrementing rare and I'll be putting that element over there. That means whenever I'm doing insertion, rare is getting incremented. Now suppose I want to do deletion. What should I do? You people tell me. I want to delete.
Decrement rare.
मैम डिक्रीमेंट रेयर
सोच के बताओ. सोच के
Increment.
नहीं 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 नहीं
Increment in front.
हाँ
increment friend.
इंक्रीमेंट
It
फ्रेंड
is not decrement friend.
इंक्रीमेंट फ्रेंड
When you want to delete this 12, right? This is the element. This is where your friend is pointing. I said you want to
Yes.
delete an element. In a queue, by default, the element which came in first will get deleted. That means this element should get deleted. If you want to delete this element, that means your friend should get point now where? Here, right? That means you have to increment friend. So it's not decrement friend, it's increment friend. So to insert an element, you're going to increment rare, and to delete an element, you're going to increment friend. Is that
Ma'am.
clear?
Ma'am,
Yes.
if you want to decrement, we also have to decrement rare as well, right? Increment front and decrement rare.
Why you have to decrement rare?
Because now that there is one less element, like rare will have to become 3, right? 9 will become 0, 8 will become 1, 2 will become
No. You're not doing any shifting operation here. This is a linear queue, right? This is a linear queue.
we are just
So if an
deleting
element
that
is
space.
deleted from here, this is free. This is kind of wasted memory. This location will remain free. Okay.
Okay, so front will now become 1.
Yes, front will now become 1, and this will
Okay,
this is like an empty cell. This memory is actually getting wasted. Okay.
Okay.
So when you want to insert, you will increment rare. When you want to delete, you will increment friend. That is the principle behind the operation of a linear queue. We're talking about a linear queue here. There are different types of queues: linear queue, circular queue, priority queue, D queue, etc., which we'll be seeing in a little while. Right now, we are talking about a linear queue. Okay, and this is one drawback in a linear queue. Actually, when you're deleting an element, that cell or that array, that memory gets wasted. Okay. Now, how do you calculate the total number of elements in a queue at any point of time? The total number of elements in a queue at any point of time can be obtained by using this formula, which is equal to rare minus friend plus 1. See, for example, look at this example which we were discussing till now. Rare minus friend plus 1. What is rare value here? Rare value is 4. What is friend value right now? 0. Plus 1. 4 minus 0, 4. Plus 1, 5. That means how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at any time, to estimate the total number of elements in a queue, you can do that by using rare minus friend plus 1. Okay, that's a simple formula. Now, so I told you how insertion works and how deletion works, right? Now let's see the algorithm for NQ. I think everybody understood how insertion and deletion works, right? Yes or no?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Ma'am,
It's
please
one-
check the
it's
waiting
one-
room.
Okay. Now let's see the algorithm for NQ and DQ operations. Okay. If you understood the logic, you'll be able to tell me what is the algorithm. I'm not showing you the algorithm right now. You tell me what was the first step in our algorithm for push inside a stack?
Increment
Set
front and
zero,
rare.
rare, 0.
Yes.
What was the first condition inside our algorithm?
First front is equal to -1, rare is equal to -1.
No, I'm asking for a stack. What was our first condition in our algorithm?
Okay,
declared
for
max.
stack. Yeah, declare max.
Push in push function.
Okay,
Ma'am, top
push.
is equals to max minus 1.
Overflow, right?
Yes.
That was our very first condition. So let's define it in the same way here. First, we'll begin our NQ function. In the case of stack, it was push and pop. Okay. Right now, it's not push and pop. For us, it is NQ NQ and DQ. Okay, NQ means insertion, DQ means deletion. Let's first see the algorithm for NQ. So first line is going to be the condition for overflow, right? Now tell me what will be the condition for overflow. Come on, what will be the condition for overflow inside a queue? You have a queue like this.
Rare is equal to max minus 1.
Sure. Rare, suppose max is say how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Max is say 6. That means this is Q of 0, this is Q of 1, this is Q of 2, 3, 4, 5. That means this is max minus 1. If rare is pointing here, what does that mean? It just means that there are elements in all these locations, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So what
ma'am.
is the condition for overflow?
If rare equal to
Condition for
max.
overflow is if rare is equal to max minus 1, and in spite of that, if you're trying to do an insertion operation, it is going to give you a message overflow. So the very first step in the algorithm for NQ is, as usual, the condition for overflow. So what is the condition for overflow? Rare is equal to max minus 1, right? Now, otherwise how do you push NQ an element inside the queue? By incrementing rare, right? But we have a small exception. I told you initially when your queue is empty, how do you insert? Initially your queue is empty means friend minus 1 hai, rare minus 1 hai. This is the condition for our queue empty, right? In this condition, if I want to insert an element into the queue, say I want to insert A inside this location. Q of 0 mein mujhe dalna hai A. In that case, what I have to do? I have to set friend as 0. I have to set rare as 0. And then in Q of 0 or Q of rare, I'll be putting that element A, right? That's how I'm going to do. So see here, look at the step number 2 in your algorithm. What have we done here? If friend and rare is minus 1, that means if initially your queue is empty, in that case, how will you insert the very first element into the queue? You will insert the very first element into the queue by setting friend as 0 and rare as 0 and then putting that value in queue of rare. Okay, this if statement has only one statement here. This if loop has only one statement. That means after executing this statement, you will automatically come to this step, right? So once you set friend and rare as 0, what you will do? You will put that number, whichever number you want to insert into that location, which is indexed by Q of rare, right? Otherwise, in all other cases, how will you insert an element? You will insert an element by just incrementing rare, that is rare equal to rare plus 1, and then by putting that number into that location inserted by, indexed by rare, correct? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Or is everything going above your head?
No, ma'am. Understood.
So what do we do in the algorithm for NQ? First, we'll check whether can we NQ or not. When we'll be able to NQ? We'll be able to NQ only if there is space in our array, right? So for that, first we have to check the condition for overflow. What is the condition for overflow? Whenever rare reaches max minus 1, that means you have inserted elements in all locations till rare. So in that case, if rare has already reached max minus 1, it means that there is no free space in your array, right? Where you can insert. In that case, you will print a message overflow. Otherwise, that means if rare is not at max minus 1, that means rare can be here, 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 or here, or here. Rare has not reached max minus 1. In all those cases, you can insert, right? So the next step would obviously be your algorithm for actual insertion. In actual insertion, you can have two cases. One is the initial case. That means when your queue is initially empty. What is the condition for queue initially empty? Friend is equal to -1 and rare is equal to -1, right? In that case, how do you insert the very first element? You insert the very first element by setting front and rear as 0, and then in Q of rear. Q of rear means Q of 0. In Q of 0, you'll put that number, whichever number you want to insert. See? Immediately.
Ma'am,
Yes?
ma'am, will you please check the waiting room? Ma'am, keep that unlocked because people get disconnected and then ask to.
It is not locked. I have not locked. I kept auto admit only, but I don't know why. The moment I switch the screen, it is not admitting.
Okay.
Okay. So there's only one statement in this if loop. Okay. So the moment you execute this, next step will be obviously this. So once you have set front and rear as 0, the next step would be to put that element into that location indexed by rear. That means in Q of 0, you're putting that element. In all other cases, that means your queue is not initially empty. In all other cases, you can insert elements by just incrementing rear and then putting that element into that location indexed by rear, right? So this is the algorithm for NQ operation or insertion operation inside a queue. Now let's see the algorithm for DQ. So how do we DQ? We DQ by just, how do we DQ? By just incrementing which pointer? Front pointer. So in DQ also we have to first check for underflow condition. Now can you tell me what would be the condition for underflow in a queue?
Front equals to -1, rear equals to -1.
Front is equal to -1. Okay. And you can also have another condition.
Front
When
equal
front-
to rear. That will be the condition.
Front equal to rear means what? You actually
what
indexing front greater than rear, not front equal to rear. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Right now, rear is pointing here and front is pointing here. Correct?
Front equal to rear means one element.
Front equal to rear means what? This
One
element is there.
Right,
Yeah.
right, okay.
And front becomes greater than rear, it's a case of underflow. So see, when I'm deleting this element, my front will point here, right? When I'm deleting this element, my front will get incremented here. When I'm deleting this element, my front will get incremented here. So right now, front and rear are both here. That means there is one element in the queue. So what is the condition for overflow? Front becomes greater than rear. So there can be two conditions where it will show you an underflow message. One is your queue is empty. The other is when front becomes greater than rear. So in either cases, it's a condition for underflow. Did everybody get this point or no?
Yes, ma'am.
See, if your queue is already empty, those who have not understood, pay attention. If your queue is already empty and somebody is asking you to delete an element from the queue, can you delete? No, you cannot delete because there are no elements in the queue. Which is this condition? This condition is front equal to -1. So if front is -1, you cannot delete because there are no elements in the queue. Another case when you cannot delete is when your front becomes greater than rear. When does your front become greater than rear? Say, suppose there are 4 elements in your queue, A, B, C, D. That means front is here, rear is here, right? Suppose now I'm calling delete. What will happen? When I'm calling delete, A will get deleted. That means F front gets incremented, right? That's how you delete. Now again I'm calling delete. So this time B will get deleted and front comes here. Again I'm calling delete. So this time C gets deleted and front comes here. Again I'm calling delete. What will happen? Front, this is getting deleted and front is coming here, right? That means front is becoming greater than rear. In that case also, it's a condition of underflow. So there can be 2 scenarios where you can have an underflow situation. One when your queue is already empty, and one when you are deleting all the elements from the queue and then again calling deletion. Is that clear? Did everybody understand the meaning of this statement?
Ma'am,
Yes.
when front is just greater than rear by 1, what if I want to add one more element? How would I do that?
You have to reinitialize your queue back to front equal to 0 and rear equal to 0 and then insert an element.
Can't I directly do it like just increment rear instead of incrementing front?
No, that's not possible in the case of a linear queue. You can do it in the case of a circular queue. So suppose your queue has become empty like this, okay? Front has become greater than rear. Now, if you want to insert an element, you will have to set front back to 0 and rear back to 0 and then insert an element. Sorry,
But
you have
did we
to
consider this situation in the last
front back to
slide?
-1, rear back to -1, and then again call the function for insert enqueue.
Okay. Okay, but did we consider this situation in the last slide? In the algorithm for incrementation?
Which condition?
Can you go back one slide, ma'am?
Okay.
Yeah, for this. Here, if our rear was greater than, rear was less than front. Rear was less than front. What do we do then?
Rear was greater than front. Rear cannot be greater than front, right?
But one condition where we completely delete the whole queue and we end with an empty queue. We continuously delete, and our front is just greater than our rear because of the last deletion. And I want to add one more element.
Okay.
What then?
See, in this program now, what we have done is, I'll just show you the code. See here. This is the algorithm for deletion, okay? See here. When front becomes greater than rear, what we are doing?
Okay, we
We are
directly
reinitializing front and rear as -1. So that is being done in the deletion function, okay?
Understood.
Okay.
So technically, if we are using up all that space, we can restart using the space.
Yes, that's how linear queue is implemented. Okay, that's how the logic of linear queue is.
Okay.
So this is the condition for underflow. That is when either your queue is already empty or when you're deleting all the elements from the queue. In that case, you can have an underflow. Otherwise, in all other cases, how do you delete an element? You delete an element by just incrementing front. And before you increment front, that means before you lose reference to that location, you can take a copy of that element and store it in a variable, just like we did in the case of a stack, so that you can later on print a message that this is the element that is being deleted. Is that clear? Remember in stack what we had done? See, once you increment front, you lose your reference to that location, that element, right? So if you want to print a message that this is the element that is getting deleted, what you can do is before you increment front, you can take a copy of that element and store it in val. See, say suppose this is your queue 1, 2, 3. Right now rear is here and front is here. You're going to increment front to delete this element 1. So once you increment front, you can now no longer reference this element, right? So before you increment front, what you can do is you can store this 1, that is queue of front, in a variable val, so that later on you can print a message that the element that is deleted is 1. So just like we did in the case of stack, before you delete, just take a copy of that element which is going to get deleted and put it in a variable so that you can later on print a message that this is the element that is getting deleted. So this is the algorithm for dequeue. Okay. So what are we doing in enqueue and dequeue? In enqueue, first we'll check for the condition for overflow, right? If it's an overflow, we cannot enqueue. Otherwise, we can enqueue. And you can enqueue in 2 cases. One case is when your queue is initially empty. In that case, you set queue and front and rear at 0, and then you put an element at that queue of 0 location. In all other cases, you can just go on adding elements by incrementing rear, right? That's enqueue. What do you do in dequeue? In dequeue, we'll first check for underflow. That means, are there elements in your queue which can be deleted or not? So that can have 2 conditions. Either your queue is already empty, then you cannot delete. You have deleted all the elements from the queue. That in that case also you cannot delete, right? So in both cases, it's an underflow. So that is this step. In all other cases, you can delete an element by just incrementing front. And before you increment front, just take a copy, a reference of that element and store it in a variable. Is that clear, everyone? Any doubts?
But ma'am, means for initializing, we haven't used all these spaces. Like if there are 10 spaces and we have only used 5, then we can initialize it forward also, no? Like it is 0 to 9 and I have only used 0 to 4. Then to again go means back for front is equals to -1 and here is equals to -1. We can do that for
Yes.
5 6 also, no? If the spaces are available.
Yes, yes, you can do it.
Ma'am, but once we DQ, we cannot NQ another element, right?
See, if this is like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now you have deleted 2 elements, 1 and 2. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot reuse this space. Now, if you try to suppose this is how your queue is like. Now, if you want to insert an element 6 into the queue, 6 will not go into this space. 6 will go into this space only. Again, when you're inserting, 7 will go into this space only.
So,
And
ma'am,
then
that memory
next
cannot
time
be
if you-
reused.
Next time, if you try to insert, it will show an overflow message. It will not let you insert here. Okay, but you can do that if you modify your implementation in the form of a circular queue. This is right now what the program that we are
Okay, ma'am,
discussing
got it.
is that of a linear queue. So with the linear queue implementation, you cannot reuse the space. But if you are writing your program in the form of a circular queue, your logic in the form of a circular queue, you can use the space. That means next time if you are trying to insert 8, 8 will go into this location.
But ma'am, you told that we have to reinitialize to -1 for both. Then that means we are reusing that, right?
I didn't understand your question.
Ma'am, you said no that for if we want to use it again, we will reinitialize. Like if a friend,
That is when your whole queue is becoming empty, right? When front is becoming greater than rear. Front is becoming greater than rear means what? All elements are getting deleted. If all elements are getting deleted, you have to set front back to -1 and rear back to -1, and then you can use this queue.
okay, ma'am.
Understood? Suppose I'm deleting all these elements. What will happen? Front will become greater than rear, right? And then what I have to do? I have to set front back to -1 and rear back to -1 so that now I can reuse the queue. But right now, if this is the scenario, like you inserted some elements and then you deleted some elements. You inserted 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you deleted 2 and 3. And now when you're trying to insert a new element, that new element will go here, not here. Now, if you try to insert 7, it is going to display an overflow message. You cannot insert, even though there is space here and here, you cannot insert. That's the problem with a linear queue, with
Means
this
we-
implementation.
Unless the whole queue is deleted, right?
Yes, unless you free all this, and then only you will be able to reuse the queue.
Okay.
That's how this linear queue concept has been implemented. But if you're implementing it in the form of a circular queue, this drawback is called as the rebuffering problem. Okay. Because of this drawback, we go for a slightly different implementation, which is called as a circular queue. Okay.
Ma'am, can you go to the previous slide?
Yes.
One before. Yes. Here, if rear is equal to max -1, we write overflow, right? Right. So don't we have the condition for front as well? No need. Okay. No, understood. Sorry.
Okay. Now let me check whether your concept is clear. Now tell me, what is the value of front and rear for this array?
-1, -1.
-1. This one, second one. So this is R -1, front -1. What is this?
0, 0,
Both
0,
are
0, 0, 0,
R0, F0.
F0,
This one,
0, 1,
F0, R1.
R1, F0. Correct. This one,
F0, R2.
R2,
R2, F0,
R2, F0. This is R3,
F0,
F0.
F0. This is R4,
R4,
F0.
F0,
Now you tell me, what is this?
R4, F1,
R4, F1. This is R,
R4, F2,
F2. And this is
R4, F3,
F3. So when you delete, you increment front, and when you insert, you increment rear, right? Now, so that was the array implementation of queue. Just like we have an array implementation of queue, we know that queue is also an ADT, right? We can implement queue using linked list also. So once we learn the linked list module, we'll be seeing the program for linked list implementation of queue. But I'll just show you how it looks like. This is how your diagrammatic representation of queue would be when you are implementing it in the form of a linked list. Okay, deletion. Your first node will be pointed by friend and your last node by rear. And when you will be inserting through this end and you'll be deleting through this end. This is just a diagrammatic representation of a linked queue. Linked queue means a queue which has been implemented using linked list. Okay, we'll see this later on once we discuss the concept of linked list. I just conveyed that just like we can implement stack using arrays and linked list, you can also implement queues also using arrays as well as linked list. Okay. Now let's see the program for implementation of linear queue using array, right? The concept that we discussed till now, what we were discussing today. So everybody pay attention. This is again a probable 10 marks question. Write a C program for implementing linear queue using array, both for your theory as well as practical. This is also a part of your list of experiments in your lab. Array implementation of linear queue. So as usual, we'll always begin by declaring the necessary header files. We need to set the size of max, right? How many elements you want to store, you want to have in your queue. So we'll do it using the hash define directive. So hash define max 10. Right now we had set the size of value of max is 10. That means your array index can go from 0 to 9, right? Queue of max, we have declared the queue using our array. We have to initialize front and rear as -1. Remember, when it was stack, we used to initialize top as -1, right? Here, in the case of queue, we have 2 pointer variables, front for deletion and rear for insertion. So we have to initialize both as -1 in our program. Then followed by our function declarations. What are the functions that we need in our program? Don't write it as insert. You can write it as enqueue. Okay, when you are implementing, write it as enqueue itself. And don't write it as delete element, write it as dequeue. So we need one function for enqueuing. We need one function for dequeuing. Peek. Peek means which element you are trying to see. Peek means which element you are trying to see.
Topmost element. The one that is at the top.
Top is
Rarest element.
Rarest element.
top is for stack. Here, peek means you're trying to see the element which is at the front. Okay. Peek in the case of a queue means you're trying to see the element at the front of the stack. The element pointed by front pointer. Whichever element front is pointing to, that element you're trying to see. Okay. That means what? The element which is going to get deleted next. So just think of it like that. Somebody is in a queue and the receptionist is speaking. That means what? She's trying to see who is at the front of the queue or who is going to get service next. So peek by default in a queue means you are trying to see who is at the front of the queue. That means who is going to deleted or who is going to be serviced next. Who is going to get service next is the person who is going to get deleted from the queue, right? That is what is peek does in the case of a queue. Is that clear? Yes or no? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so don't by mistake don't write as peek as queue of rear. Peek means we are actually seeing who is going to get serviced next or who is going to get deleted next from the queue. That means we're talking about front. So peek means you're just trying to see who is at the front of the queue. That means you're trying to print queue of front. And then you have one function for displaying the elements of the queue. So header files, necessary initializations, followed by function declarations. Which are the functions that we require? Enqueue, dequeue, peek, display. And then you have the main function. So in main function, the very first thing that we'll do is we'll display the menu to the user. So what all options the user can do? He can enqueue, he can dequeue, he can peek. That means he can just check who is at the front of the queue. He can display the elements of the queue and then he can exit, right? So these are the menu, these are the choices or options that you're providing to the user. So obviously that will come inside a do while loop, right? You need a do while switch case to implement this menu. And then you are reading the choice, user's choice. That means what operation he wants to do. You're reading the user's choice. So in the main function, you have implemented this do while loop for providing the menu. And then that would be followed by a switch case, right? So case one is insert. I told you don't write insert, write it as enqueue itself. So first function is enqueue. You can see here we have not passed any parameter. That means enqueue function is reading the element which is to be inserted. If you want, you can read the element which you want to enqueue here itself and then pass it as a parameter to the enqueue function. You can do it that way also. That's up to you. So I've told you, as a programmer, you have the flexibility to modify the program in a way you want, in a way which is comfortable to you. Okay. Did you understand what I said right now?
Ma'am, can you please repeat it again?
Remember what we did in the case of the program for stack. We had read the element which we want to insert here itself. We had written a printf statement here. Printf, enter the element to be inserted. And then using a scanf statement, we had read the element here. And then we had passed that element as a parameter to the push function. Remember?
Yes.
So I said, if you want, you can do it like that here also. You can read the element which you want to enqueue here, and then you can pass it as a parameter to the enqueue function. Right now, we have not read the element. That means that element is being read inside the body of the enqueue function. Okay. So it's up to you whether you want to read the element here and pass it as a parameter, or you want to read the element inside the body of the enqueue function. That's up to you. So case 1 is for enqueue. Case 2 is for dequeue. So don't use delete element. Use the function name as dequeue itself. Okay. And then dequeue is returning the element which is getting deleted. And then you're printing the element which is getting deleted over here. Right. So this is second case is dequeue. First case is enqueue. Second case is dequeue. Third case is peek. Peek is also returning an element which you're storing in val. So I told you which element is peek. Peek is the element which is at the queue of the front of the queue. Sorry. And case 4 is display. That means you are displaying the elements in the stack, the current status of your queue. Okay. So this is where, so your do while loop is ending here and your main function is ending here. So what are you doing in the main function? In the main function, you are just implementing the menu using the do while and switch case, right? What all options are available to the user? User can enqueue, user can dequeue, user can peek and see who is at the front of the queue. User can also display the elements of the queue. So 4 functions are being implemented in the program. Are you guys able to follow what I'm saying? Is my voice breaking?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's see the body of the functions for insertion, deletion, peek and display, right? Insertion, we have seen the algorithm, right, just a while ago, right? So you know what is happening in insertion. So you can see we are reading the element which we want to insert here. In stack, in the program for stack, we had read the element in the main function and then we had passed that element as a parameter to this function, right? Here we are not doing it like that. Here inside the function, we are reading the element which we want to insert. That means insert is not having any parameter, right? I'm discussing all these things because there may be students who are not clear with the all these concepts like parameter passing, right? That's why I'm stressing on this, okay? So here we are reading the element which is to be inserted here itself. And then these are the steps of our algorithm. What are the steps in our algorithm? First, we'll check whether can we insert or not. That means we'll first check whether it's a condition of overflow or not. See, if rare has reached max minus 1, that means if this is your queue. In this case, what has happened? Rare is here, front is here. And rare has reached max minus 1, right? Rare is right now max minus 1. In this case, what is max? Max is 3. And what is this? This is queue of 0, this is queue of 1, this is queue of 2. Correct? So right now, rare is pointing to 2, array location 2, array index 2. That means rare is right now at max minus 1. So that means what? There is no space. You cannot enqueue an element inside the queue. If this is the case, what you'll print on the screen console, you'll print that it's a case of overflow on the console. Otherwise, if that's not the case, then you can have such a case where your queue is initially empty. That means both your friend and rare are at -1. If this is the case and you want to insert an element inside the queue, you have to set friend as 0, rare as 0, and then in queue of 0, you will put that element 1, right? So you can see these steps. If friend is -1 and rare is -1, you will set friend and rare as 0, and then you'll come and execute this step. Queue of rare is equal to num. That means queue of 0 is equal to 1, right? Otherwise, suppose you have already inserted 1. Now you want to insert 2. That means user has entered 2, the number 2. How will the execution proceed? We'll first check this. Rare has not reached max -1. So this will not get executed. This is also not the case because right now, where is rare pointing? Rare is pointing here. Friend is also pointing here. So how will you insert an element? By just incrementing rare. So what you will do? You'll just increment rare so that rare points here. So after you execute this step, you will come and execute this step. So what will happen? This element which the user has just now entered, 2, will go into this location. Is that clear, everybody? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See here, this step is not inside this else loop. This else statement has only one step. This step is outside this else. Okay. So if you want, you can put parenthesis to demarcate it. Your else if is opening here, closing here. Your else is opening here, closing here. So this statement is outside your else. That means this statement will get executed for your else if and both your else if and else. Okay. So when you're writing the program, put the parenthesis properly so that the logic works. So that's the body of the function for insertion. Now coming to the body of your function for deletion. What are we doing in deletion? First, we have to check for underflow. What is the condition for underflow? We have already discussed this in the algorithm. Okay, that's why I'm speaking a little fast. What are we doing in dequeue function? First, we'll check for underflow. What is the condition for underflow? There can be two conditions. Either queue is already empty or you have deleted all the elements from the queue. In both cases, it's a condition of underflow. Otherwise, how do you delete an element? You delete an element by just incrementing friend. And before you increment friend, you have to take a copy, a reference of that element and put it in a variable so that later on you can print a message that this is the element that is getting deleted, right? Now, what is the meaning of this statement? Can somebody tell? What is the meaning of this statement? What is the meaning of this statement? Come on, it's Monday morning. Somebody tell. What is the meaning of that statement?
Empty.
हम underflowing हो रहा है.
If friend greater than rare means what? All the elements from your queue has been deleted.
Deleted.
That means what you have to do? You have to set friend and rare
Initialize.
to -1, right? So that you can reuse the queue. So the moment friend becomes greater than rare, you have to set friend and rare back to -1 so that now you can insert a new element. And that new element will go into queue of 0, right? That's why you have written this statement. The moment friend becomes greater than rare, that means the moment you have deleted all the elements from a queue, you have to initialize friend and rare back to -1 so that now you can insert a new element. Somebody can insert a new element. Okay. So that is what is happening in insertion and deletion. Same thing as in the algorithm, nothing different. And then you have the body of the peek function. What is happening in peek? In peek, I told you we are just trying to see who is at the front of the queue. Queue of friend. That is what we are trying to see. So if there are no elements in your queue, In that case, you have to display the message that queue is empty. Otherwise, if there are elements in your queue, we are just returning queue of friend or the element which is pointed by queue of friend. See, suppose this is your queue. Right now, if you call peak function, what will get displayed on your screen? This element 1 should get displayed on the screen. That means the element at the front of the queue is 1. That is a message that should come on your screen when you call peak function. So peak is for just checking who is at the front of the queue. So you can see this function is returning queue of friend. Where it is returning? It is returning to the main function. So in the main function, whatever element you have returned, say 1, will get stored in this variable val, and then you're printing that message on the screen that the first value in the queue is 1. So this message gets displayed on your screen. Peak is for displaying who is at the front of the queue, and then you have this display function. What is happening in display? Display can have two cases. One is your queue is empty wala case, and the second case is your queue is having elements. So you can see here you have an if statement and an else statement here. What is the purpose of this if statement? The if statement is for printing queue empty wala condition. So if front is equal to -1 or front is greater than rare, in both cases you know that your queue is empty. So in that case you will display a message that your queue is empty. Otherwise you will display the elements from front to rare, right? So you can see here for I equal to front, I less than or equal to rare, I plus plus. From front to rare, which whatever elements are there, you are displaying it using this for loop. Now you people tell me, why have we used I equal to front? Why can't I use I equal to 0? Tell me why I can't write it as I equal to 0, I less than or equal to rare. Tell me why I can't write for I equal to 0, I less than or equal to rare, I plus plus. Why have we written it as I equal to front? Understood my question?
And because if an element is dequeued, then front do not
Yes,
want to.
because if an element is dequeued, then front won't be here, right? See, suppose 1, 2, 3, 4 is there in your array, and I have deleted this 1. That means front will be here and rare will be here. In this situation, if somebody is calling display, which all elements should get displayed? 2, 3, 4 should come on your screen, right? So in this case, your index, I index should go from front to rare, not from 0 to rare. If it goes from 0 to rare, it's wrong because there are no elements in this queue of 0 location, right? Elements are from queue of 1 to queue of 3, right? So that is why we have taken our index from I equal to front and not from I equal to 0, because in the case we are deleting an element, there won't be any elements in those locations, right? That's why our 4 index is ranging from I equal to front to I less than or equal to rare, I plus plus, print of %d q of I. So in the display function, we are just displaying the elements in the queue. That can have two scenarios. One is either your queue is empty. The second case is there are elements in your queue. If there are elements in your queue, you will just display those elements by using a for loop which goes from I equal to front to I less than or equal to rare. Is that clear, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Monday morning. Show the energy. See, so this is how your output will look like. I'll show you the demo in the next session. And we'll continue this topic in the next session. Okay. I hope this program is clear to everybody. If anybody has not understood, please visit the lecture recording once again. In spite of that, if you're not able to understand, you can ask me at the beginning of the next session to repeat it once again. But you have to take that initiative of going through the program or lecture recording once again, in case you have not understood. Did everybody understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
There, just a minute. Let me just take the attendance. All of you, have you all marked your attendance?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Those who have not marked your attendance, mark it quickly before I stop the recording. there may be many students, there are many students who have left their laptops and are minding their own business. There may be students who are not paying attention. I do not know about. Pay attention, huh? You're paying fees. It's your responsibility to be sincere. Right now, we are not having any control on you. If it was a classroom, the case was different. Shall I stop recording? Has everybody marked your attendance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.